Get back!
Listen, I have things that I have to mention. Now don't consider this dissing, I'm just on a mission, trying to spread the good news to those who are lost and confused and willing to listen. Let us formulate our lost attention toward code laws based on judicial rules, appellate reviews, opinions, and points of views. It read, any slave attempting to run away and leave the state is dead. As an off with his head after the whipping and lynching, a sickening invention invented by someone demented. A runaway slave refusing to surrender could be killed without penalty. All throughout the British colonies of America, this was the chemistry. Your labor was your energy, and your energy was stolen by your enemy. I said your neighbor is your enemy, and your energy is sold by your enemy. Now I know you can't hear me clearly because you fear them, but they fear me. You feel me? Although I run the risk that they might kill me, I still have to first point out the fact that, judging from your melanated tone, that you are not black. But for lack of a better definition, let's just say black. During the Black Wall Street attack and the race riots, there was no black pride. When blacks died in the blood that their face lied, when loved ones cried by their wayside. And meanwhile, in today's reality, police brutality seems to be a vitality flourishing and nourishing on the ignorance of law, all law, a law that was never taught in public schools but widely interpreted by educated fools, April Fools. The joke's on us. There's never enough unity and trust to boycott that bus, that Christian bus, the assisted living bus, the prison bus. Seems our enemy has given us a way to live in a free world where we pay to live or die crying and relying on complying. Listen.
Peace to the gods. Hello, world. I'm Selfe, a.k.a. Dwight El-Bey, and we're on Hindsight Radio, and this is the Sleep Sheep Show. Today is May 2nd, 2015, and I want to thank everybody, that's online, that's trying to get in and everything, because you could have been doing anything, but you rocking with me. And I feel like one of them ring announcers for the Mayweather and Pacquiao fight right now. Anyway, I want to give a shout-out to everybody, that's here. I want to give a shout-out to the dream team of Hindsight Radio. That's Keith Bey. That's Khalifa. That's Jonah Bey, Akeem L. Last but not least, myself, Selfe, a.k.a. Dwight Bey. And, I'm thankful to have this platform, to be able to supply people with real information and true information. We also have 6 shows dedicated to, getting people out this information because some people really need this information. So, with that being said, I believe, studying this information is a key point in self-preservation because we need to know this information to be able to survive in some cases. So I hope everybody got their pen and paper ready, in case they come across something that catches their ear. And if you want to ask any questions, you can press 1, or you can come into the chat, and you can leave your question in line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out by giving, a little background how I came into this information. Because, for the most part, everybody is going to have a pinnacle where they're going to come into this information because we don't start out knowing it, and nobody's going to tell it to us. I want to say I remember when I caught a case for possession, criminal possession of a controlled substance. So I remember they were sentencing me. They were giving me 3 to 6 years. And I went into the court. I went in for sentencing, and they give you a chance to say, do you have anything to say before sentencing, something like that. So I went in there and I told a judge, I said, I hope you had a nice day. And this was after I signed some papers and everything. I said, I hope you have a nice day. She said, yeah, I did, smiled at me 3 to 6, and slayed me. So, during, that getting sentenced and everything and that trip, I started to think it's got to be more to life than this. It's got to be other information. So I did a little prayer to myself, and I kind of said something like, God, if there's information out there, guide me to it, lead me to it, and whatnot. I did something like that. So I ended up going up on a trip, and I was talking to a few people from different areas, maybe like in upstate New York. You have Buffalo, New York, Rochester, Syracuse, and a few other people in the region. They all go up on the bus together. So on the way on the bus, I was talking to a few people from Rochester. We clicked, and I want to say about a month or two into going into, doing my bid, going to the yard, I had this kid, and he started telling me, he started saying, hey, man, I came across some information about how the government or corporations, and, I was immediately interested. So he said he had this book. And I said, what book you got? He said he had the Redemption Manual, the 4th edition. So I kept telling him, I said, hey, let me get that book. We went to the yard. He said, nah, I'm not giving up the book because the book had some importance to it. So he came to the yard, and I said, listen, give me some information. I had a pen and paper, had it handy, and I'm writing down words. I started out writing down words and just listening and everything. And then I said, write me something out. He wrote me something out of the book, and I had little bits and pieces, so I'm reading it, and I'm kind of getting interested into it. And then I ended up getting moved to a different unit, so I couldn't see him at the yard anymore. And just so happened I get moved to a unit where there's a cubicle. The guy in the next cubicle, he has the book also. So at night he was able, to let me read his book, and I read it, give it back to him, and I told him I want copies of the book. So he worked in the law library in the prison. So he went and got me maybe 100 pages every day until I got the whole book. Then he got me another 100 pages of another book every day until I got that whole book, which was Cracking the Code. And so I read those 2 books, and then I learned from there how to order other books. So I used to ordered about another 8 books. So I pretty much spent my time reading and studying and working out. And I was actually hearing cases where people were using it to get out of prison, and people were winning child support cases. And so I did about maybe 3 years, and I got out. And I had all that information fresh in my head. And I caught a case 10 days after I was out. But it was like a case where somebody just went and made something up and said I did something. They came, they kicked the door in, arrested me, and took me to the precinct. So, they tried to get my fingerprints and all that stuff. And, after reading all the stuff in the book, I wasn't giving it up. So they're like, well, we're going to get it, this and that. They trying to get me to sign property receipts. I didn't sign anything. So I'm in court, and the first thing I said when they called my name is I stood up. I said, comes now the accused over title to the property in this matter. At that time, I didn't really understand it. I just was saying a bunch of things that I read. I didn't really have an overstanding of it or understanding. So as I walked up, he said, be quiet, sit right there, shut up, and don't say a word till I tell you to. So I said, Your Honor, do you have a claim against me? Or judge or whatever. I said, do you have a claim against me? He said, just wait 1 second. I'm going to let you talk. I said, is there anybody present in this courtroom that has a claim against me? I hear somebody in the background laughing. In my mind, it was kind of funny. I wanted to laugh too, but, I had to go in there and stay focused. So I said, do you have a claim against me? He said no. He started turning all red and all of that. Then he started stamping the papers. And he said, we're going to adjourn this, and then they adjourned it. And then what was funny when they adjourned it was I seen a difference in the court and the judge and the reaction and everything. And that's when I kind of thought, like, oh, wait, this thing looked like it's working a little bit. So I went in there next time, and they were trying to get me to sign something. So they all surrounded me, holding their tasers and whatnot, saying, okay, yeah, sign this and sign this, whatever. So it was like a little digital signature. So I was like, I'm not signing that. They was like, well, you have to sign it. And I said, is my signature mandatory on that document or on that little signature thing? They said, yeah. So I said, okay, is it a law that is mandatory? They said, yes, a law. I said, all right, show me the law and I'll sign it. So they said, we don't have it, but when you sign it, we'll show you. So anyway, I said, okay, I'll sign under duress. So when I signed, I put I signed my name and put without prejudice on there. And when I did that, they took it. They took the signature. So when I was in court, they were trying to give me a public defender. But by that time, my friends, they already hired me a lawyer. So when I was sitting in court, the public defender came over and he started talking to me, and he said, "Yeah, I'm your public defender here to represent you." And I said, can you get the living soul released? And he said, who's the living soul? And I just said, all right, have a nice day. And at that time, the lawyer that was hired, he ended up walking in, and he told him, well, I'm here to represent him and whatever. So anyway, I sat down when I went back to the jail. I sat down with that lawyer and talked with him, and we had a real deep conversation. I think he told me something like he only had like 10 minutes or something, and then we ended up talking for maybe an hour or 2 hours or so. And he told me he would do everything in his power to make sure that I win. And one day he came to see me and told me that the judge had gave him his business card and said he wanted the case dismissed. So when he told me that, I'm really thinking like, oh, this thing is really going down. So I go into court again. It was just a bunch of back and forth for a couple months. Go into court again, and then they come back with the signature. They said, we want your signature again. I said, what was wrong with the first one? And I looked over his shoulder. I seen a little DA's note on the file that says still needs signature. So after that, I kind of knew, okay, they need my signature to do something, to proceed or anything. So they end up dismissing the case. And not only that, I was fighting parole as well because they tried to violate me and give me 12 months. So I go in there with parole, and they're talking about, oh, you got to do 12 months, and you got to sign this. And I said, when the parole officer came up for me to sign something, I kind of looked at it. I said, oh, I can't sign that without my attorney. And first I got to read over it. So I was reading over it for about an hour. And he said, oh, I don't have time. I have to go. So he left. He said, I'll be back tomorrow. He came to the county jail, and he tried to get me to sign it again. Then I told him, just get that out of my face. I'm not signing it. So I ended up going into the parole court. And the funny thing is, they found me guilty of whatever, but they let me out. So the DA said, oh, she's going to appeal it and everything. But she didn't appeal it. And, it just disappeared, and that was it. And I was out. Then they took me off of parole even early, maybe a year and a half earlier than normal. So now I was kind of trying things out. I was still getting into the information, trying things out. And I won that case. So I said, okay, I had a couple traffic stops, and I were getting into police encounters and traffic stops, and I was saying things and doing things where I wasn't getting arrested or I wasn't getting my car took or things like that. And they were like, okay, have a nice day. clearing roadblocks and everything like that. So I was kind of shocked, at how the information was working. I didn't know enough then. So I kind of was trying to tell people about it, and nobody would pick it up. So I'm kind of out here testing things by myself on a solo mission, telling people, oh, man, this worked. And I had a friend of mine, I remember we were in the studio, and he came in there, and he said, man, I have all these tickets. And I was like, hey, man, you should try this stuff. Go down there and tell them this and tell them that. So he was like, nah, I'm not going to do that yet. But then, it came to a point where he had so many tickets, he got tired of it. So he said, you know what, I'm going to go down there and do it. So he went down there and said something, and then he didn't know enough of what he was getting into, so they kind of overpowered him and took advantage of the situation. And so he said, I went down there and said it, and they were acting different, but they asked me a question, and I didn't know what to say after that. So anyway, he went at it again, and this time, we worked on a strategy. So he went in there this time, and he said they all got up and ran out the courtroom, and he said the DA pulled him to the side and said, listen, just pay $20 and nobody would ever have to know about this. So he said that he told him, I don't want to pay $20. He said, all right, then what do you want to pay? And he told him something like, I'll give you 10 or something like that. And he said, all right, 10. So he came to the studio with the receipt. He said, they was talking about I had to pay $350 for a ticket, and I only paid them 10 for it. It worked. So I said, we were excited because we were testing it out. We started somewhere, and we made it happen. So I said, man, you didn't have to pay him that. Once they got up and left the courtroom, the case was over. So he basically pulled him into a side contract, which was still a victory because, it beats paying $350 in any event. So anyway, we were testing things, and, I caught another case, and, I put some papers in, still testing it, and won the case. It took me a while to win the case. It took me almost a year, but they dismissed it and sealed it. And then, we were kind of doing little things, with the running into police officers, and they were kind of just like disappearing, like, oh, we don't want nothing to do with it. They're talking about their rights and everything. So anyway, I ended up shutting down the studio and moving to Atlanta for, I want to say a year or two or something like that. So that's where I met Jonah Bey. So he kind of approached me, because of my plates. I was riding at the time. I was riding my own plates for like a year and a half. Some plates that I made with de jure, and then I did up an affidavit and put my own, notices, stickers in the window. And I didn't really have a problem with riding like that. I would clear roadblocks. I would park anywhere, not get tickets. So I sat down, and when I started talking with Jonah, that's when it opened up my horizons to this information. So it gave me accuracy now, because like I said on, the other shows talking with Jonah, I was kind of testing things and guessing. I was winning, but I didn't know how I won. But then I was able to be precise with the information. So I was able to be more successful. So once I learned those things and I began to apply them, I ended up getting arrested in Atlanta. They took my truck, and, Jonah held me down. I was able to call him from out there in the jail. He sent me a couple dollars when I was in there, and he also came to get me when they let me go. And it was funny how they let me go, because I was in there when I first got arrested. They had the judge come to the cell, and he's talking to me from the cell and saying something. I said something. He said, I don't want to hear that. Then he shut the little window, and he moved. He left, but then he sent some papers the next day or two. that was a bail release. So I guess he was posting the bail for me, but it was stipulations like I couldn't leave the town or the state or something like that. And I didn't agree with it. So I just sat there and I said, I'm not signing that. I'm not getting out under any stipulations. So I sat there for a few more months. And it's different from being in New York, because if you get arrested in New York, you generally go to court the next day. Out there, it's a whole different ball game. But anyway, I went to court, and it was 3 people in the van with me. And we all got to the court. They sent the other 3 people back, and they were complaining, like, oh, my sister's out there, my mother's out there. They sent them back. The DA came to the cell, and he wanted to talk to me. They call him a solicitor out there. He wanted to talk to me, and he says, well, I got this stipulation here. You do 2 years, some crazy shit for some traffic stuff. He said if you do 2 years or a year probation, $2,000 fine, $500. $2,000 fine and 100 hours community service. And I said, okay, give me 10 minutes to look over it and let me see what it say. So he said, all right, I'll give you 10 minutes. So I went back to the bullpen and I looked over it. And then he came back in about 10 minutes, and I said, I'm not taking this here. He says, all right, well, if you do the 12 months probation and $500 fine and 100 hours community service and take these 3 charges, I'll let you go right now. So I kept thinking of what Jonah was telling me, take the path of least resistance, get out and fight them when you get out. So I kind of sat there and I thought about it. I said, I've been sitting in here for all this time. I'm not giving you any money. So he said, okay, no money, just community service and 12 months probation and 2 charges. I said, listen, this charge here, this charge here is impossible. How can I do that charge there? He said, okay, just 1 charge, community service, something. I said, I'm not doing no probation. I said, I got things to do. So we were just talking like that back and forth, and he just crossing things out till it got down to, okay, just take this 1 charge and I'll let you go right now. So I'm thinking, okay, I'll fight 1 charge outside. I don't have to pay anything. I don't have to do any probation or any time served. So I got out, and, I fought him when I got out. And I wasn't in a position really to go and get my property back because Georgia's a big place, and I didn't have my transportation. So I just got on the first thing smoking back to New York. And when I got to New York, about a week or 2, I caught another case. So, I'm fighting this case, and I throw in a 100-page document. It was 100 pages or 100 points on an affidavit. And the judge, when it came into court, the judge said something like, "You want him to rebut all these points or something like that?" So I was like, "Yeah." So I started talking with Jonah, and that's when he introduced me to the infamous Rule 5.1 that everybody's been using and everybody has been winning their cases off of. So, well, if you do it right, you're going to win your case. If you do it wrong, you're going to have some issues. So anyway, Jonah put together something for me, and I kind of, got it and critiqued it, how I had to do it to put my information and, according to New York, how it applies in New York and whatnot. And I put it in, and, Jonah told me about the birth certificate. I put that in as well, and I put in a few other things. I did the assumed name process and was able to throw that in as well. So when I threw that paper in, when I threw all those papers into the court and the way I put them in, notary presentment and everything, I kind of seen them fold. It kind of knocked the wind out of them. So when when the 6 months went by, it was about a month, I got a letter from the Attorney General, said he's not going to intervene according to the rule. So So he didn't intervene. So another month, I put in there, they were talking about trial. So I called Jonah, and I'm like, hey, man, they're talking about still going to trial on this thing here. So he's like, you got to put in the writ of error. So I'm like, I didn't know really too much about the writ of error, but then I think our phone lost connection, and I couldn't reach him. So now I'm like, okay, I got to go to court tomorrow. They're talking about trial, and I have to put this writ of error in, which I don't know how to do. So, I immediately start doing research and looking up things to learn how to put a writ of error together. So I put one together, effectively, and brought it in to court. In the morning, I went to the clerk's desk, to the clerk's office, and I put it in, and it made it up into the court by the time I got in there. So now they're saying, okay, we're going to adjourn the case for this time, and that time is going to be trial. And then I came in, and then they said the state is not ready to proceed, and they dismissed it. And that was that, And so I had a few other cases, and I'm like, okay, we're going to try this 5.1 thing. And it worked and got their cases dismissed as well. And it was different cases. We're talking about drug cases, different kind of cases, tax cases, things like that. And it all worked out. So, people are using the 5.1, and it's doing good. And I wanted to, break down why the 5.1 is working out for people. So I'm going to start by going and pulling up the 5.1. And you can find that, if you're online. If you're not, then that's cool. You can always look it up, or you can write it down, or you can go into the archives and listen to the show again. But if you go to like law.cornell.edu, and you'll find the 5.1 constitutional challenge, and which it says, notice by a party that files a pleading, written motion, or other drawing into question the constitutionality of a federal or state statute must promptly file a notice of constitutional question stating the question and identifying the papers raising it. Now, when you file a notice of constitutional question, the type of question that you are raising is a political question. Now, when you raise a political question, then that's the question that's for the legislative to answer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into a political question. Now, you can look this stuff up and research it and do further study. I'm just going to give a quick overview of what it's about. Okay. When you look up political question, it says, in American constitutional law, the political question doctrine is closely linked to the concept of justiciability, and it comes down to a question of whether or not the court system is an appropriate forum in which to hear the case. This is because the court system only has authority to hear and decide legal questions, not a political question. So do y'all hear that? They can only decide on legal questions, not political questions. So when you do the constitutionality, the constitutionality of a statute, you're asking them a political question. So that's out of their jurisdiction. That would be mixing the branches of government and violating the power of separation, or Separation of Powers Act. So that's what's going to be the issue in court. When you raise that question, you're going to be able to pretty much stop them in their tracks. Now, what they'll do is they'll try to, trick you out of that and try to get you to consent, whether it's by acquiescence or implied consent or direct consent. They'll try to scare you in some cases. And I just had a friend of mine, he went in court, and he's kind of a rookie. So I'm kind of telling him some things, and I told him, I said, when you go in there, don't go in there and don't argue with them. So I guess he went in there arguing with him because I got a phone call, and he was saying, hey, I'm getting arrested. And I said, what is it, contempt of court? And he said, I don't know, hold on. What am I getting arrested for? They said contempt of court. He said, yeah, contempt of court. I said, I told you not to go in there arguing with him. You know, so when you in these courts, it's going to depend on your demeanor and how you carry yourself. Some people go in these courts is like walking in their house, and then you're getting in there and you're trying to assert yourself and raise your voice and tell them what they're going to do and not going to do. You know, you're going to assert yourself in your paperwork. Then you can tell them to refer to your paperwork, you know. You don't have to get in there and kind of try to overtalk them. That's when you get caught up trying to get in there and overtalk them and whatnot. So, you know, I'm also going to go over some things like when you're in the courtroom. It's important because you get in the courtroom, like I said, you got to know how to conduct yourself. You don't want to get in there and get embarrassed, because if you kind of miss something or make a mistake, or you don't, you know, you're not in a proper standing, you know, they'll try to embarrass you in front of a lot of people. But when you're doing it right and you're on the, you know, they'll start clearing out the courtroom because they don't want anybody to hear what's going on. They don't want to, you know, alert people. So anyway, like I got rules like for when people go into court. When you're in court, they'll say like, well, are you going to represent yourself? You know, people will say, yeah, I'm representing myself, attorney in fact or whatever. You know, they can say it if they want, but I don't suggest saying it because, you know, you go in there representing yourself, then you're purporting to be, you know, a lawyer or something, and you're not with the bar. You know, they may ask you, do you understand the charges? You know, you're not supposed to say, yes, you understand the charges, because then you're implying that you're being charged and not the birth certificate, which is what is being charged in the courtroom, you know, which is the estate or the corporation that they're charging. You know, you're not supposed to hire or accept a public lawyer or hire one, and what they'll do is they'll force one on you. They'll say something like, well, I'm appointing you an attorney and this and that, you know, and you want to give them notice. You know, you can do it verbally or you can do it in affidavit form, but verbally is sufficient. You can say, you know, I don't consent to your services. You're fired. You're fired. 3 times is going to be the golden rule, you know, for the court, because like I mentioned in the show the other day, is the golden rule is you have error, which they can say they made a mistake. Then you have malice. Then you have intent. And you never want to miss a court date. You know, if you figure it out to where you can not go to court and everything's all right, then share the news. You know, let people know. But other than that, if you don't go to court, in most cases, you know, they'll issue an arrest warrant. They'll wait till you get outside and arrest you, or, you know, they'll send you something to come back into court. So you got to go in there and you got to be able to handle yourself to get rid of that case, you know. So, and you want, like, if that, you'll go in there and they'll ask you, how do you plea? Okay, now they want you to enter into a plea. If you enter into a plea, then you're pleading, you know, you become under jurisdiction. Whether you plead not guilty, no contest, or guilty, you're under their jurisdiction. You're creating controversy. And those courts, once you create controversy, then they can rule over your 5.1 because they have jurisdiction over case or controversy, but they don't have jurisdiction over political questions. And you don't want to make sure you don't plead guilty, and don't give them your date of birth, because what they'll do with the date of birth is they'll try to look up your information and your bonding information from the birth certificate and everything and use it to extract money from it or steal your exemption. Don't get loud or argue, like I said. Never say you practice law. They'll say something like, oh, are you an attorney? Do you practice law? And never tell them that you practice law. Never sign any documents. They'll try to get you to sign things. You know, if they try to get you to sign, you know, you have to have a talk off for that, so you don't have to sign anything. And never take a plea deal. And if you want to win your case, you know, you would be smart enough to not take a plea deal. So there's some music. Where that music coming from? Okay. That's the music rocking with me. That's my theme music, okay? All right, so anyway, you know, that's just a few things that I wanted to touch. And, you know, winning these cases are important because, you know, that's going to set the pace for your neighbor or your friend or your brother or anybody that's in trouble, that find themselves in trouble. Then you can develop, you know, new information to apply, and then you do it as a whole, and then you can protect your rights. And in some, you know, in some sense, that'll stop them from doing anything they want out there in these streets. So I think I'll go to the phone line and see if anybody have any questions or any comments or any testimony or anything. Let me see if I can work this board here. I'm going to start with this number. What's this number here? 414-888. Peace to the God. Can you hear me?
Peace, God.
What's good?
Nothing much, man. I just had I basically had two questions, man.
Okay.
One question was when you receive like a summons or a presentment, what is the actual form, or what words do you put on a paper or the envelope or whatever to reject offer, I guess I should say.
The thing is with that, what I normally do is you know, I put on there for the public record. You're going to put it at like maybe a 45-degree angle, or you can just slap it on there. You're going to do it with a red marker real across the document, whatever the document is.
You said red marker?
Yeah. It's other ways as well, but you know, I'm just letting you know what I normally do.
Okay.
I put for the public record. You know, I do not agree with this contract, or I do not consent to this contract, or you can put no contract. Then you're going to put your articles of incorporation, or it's a certificate of incorporation name, which is your last name, comma. It's going to be all capitals too. Your last name in all capitals, comma, then your first name and middle name in all capitals. Then you may put without prejudice, or, you know, depending on your state, you can put UCC 1-308, UCC 1-103.6. And one is to reserve your rights to 308. It could be 207 in some places to reserve your rights. And the other one is that the statute run in harmony, you know, with the Constitution. Okay. And then you send that back, but make sure, like, when you send that back, you get your green card. You do tracking on it so you can keep track with it, and you get your green card and send it notary presentment, so you have a witness that you sent it back.
Okay.
What's your other question?
And the final question I had was about I've read recently about I think it's called vis secundum or something like that, where you put in VC before your signature to let them know that you don't want to assume any liability.
Yeah, I know what you mean as far as signing. It's a lot of different ways to sign it. You know what I'm saying? You can put that before your signature, but then what if your name is Vince Carter? You see what I'm saying? And that can just be your initials as far as they're concerned. So, you know, normally what I normally do, depending on the situation, let's say like if I'm in a situation where I'm signing something where I kind of need it at the time, but I don't want to incur the full liability, I would put, by semicolon and then sign the name. You know what I'm saying? Which is like makes you an author of the document. Or, if you're in the police station, they're trying to get you to sign property receipts or, signatures for bails or anything else. You can put straight under duress. You can put under duress. You can put under coercion, under threat. You know what I mean? I usually put without prejudice.
And do you put that in the place of your signature, or you put your signature also?
You can do it either way. I usually put my signature then without prejudice, but now I just straight put without prejudice. But those things right there have been working for me, being in their system. They kind of disregard the document or rip it up or throw it out when I do stuff like that. And there was a time where I got pulled over and I wrote it on a license. When I was just starting out into this information, and they were they seen it on a license and they just dispersed, just disappeared and left. You know what I'm saying? I had a video of that actually on YouTube, and they deleted it. They took it down. But they kind of seen it and was like, "Oh, did you ever see anything like this before?" They said, "No." They said, "You ever dealt with anybody like this before?" They said, "Yeah, I did a long time ago." They said, "Yeah, me too." So they left the officer that they were that called them. They left him by himself. You know what I mean? Then he ended up leaving eventually anyway, just all off of seeing that without prejudice on the driver's license.
Okay. And you don't have any of your videos or anything
actually,
archived or anything, do you?
Yeah, actually, I got the videos that I have. I'm gonna put them up later. The ones of the police stops. But I have Sleep Sheep videos, Sleep Sheep 1 and Sleep Sheep 2. They're on YouTube. So all you do is put in
I actually seen those.
Yeah. And if you could see a little bit of the videos in there of the police encounters.
Okay.
That's in there. I seen the deer up in the chat room. Peace, God. Peace. He out there fighting.
I appreciate it, man, though.
What's your name, brother?
I'm Dwight. You'll see me in the chats, man. I'm following you guys, man, every week.
That's peace,
all
man.
Week,
That's
I should
peace.
say. All right, peace, God.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna go to another caller. Let me see here. I'm new to working these boards right here, but thanks to my people, Thugs, man. I'm a tech savvy guru somewhat, and I can work anything. So we're gonna go with 541-606. Peace. 541-606. Okay, I'm gonna go to somebody else.
Hello?
Hold up.
Daniel, I've been following y'all every week. Can you hear me?
Yeah, who is this?
Oh, my name's Daniel.
Is this the 541-606?
It is. That's correct. That's me.
Okay, peace, Daniel. What's going on, man? You got any information, concerns, comments, questions, anything?
Yeah, I'm just calling from Eugene, Oregon. Hoping to try to get a study group or whatnot together out here. Been trying to tell everybody about kind of like the high frequency and El-Bey stuff or whatever, and I see that you guys are right there in the mix of everything. I got to pull over, make sure I don't get you guys a live call and demonstration right now.
Right.
Turn off the car and everything.
Right, got to play it safe. Path of least resistance, right?
For sure, man. But it is a pleasure to meet your acquaintance and everything, my friends. And, since I started listening, man, I just kind of, it's kind of got me a whole, it's kind of a very commercial aspect or whatever, but it's kind of raising the frequency on a lot of levels. Just, I'm eating differently.
Yeah.
Learning, just dealing with people in a, kind of being able to recognize different anxieties and deal with things, and just looking around me at other people and how just everything in society is getting dealt with, and with this whole other realization of what's going on, and looking at things like on a biblical level, that really how the commercial aspects are so intertwined in that and whatnot, and it's turned the Bible for me into a book of riddles to a book of wisdom.
Right, and,
right. Just really fascinating, man, and I realize that it's no overnight remedy or quick thing. That it's a way, it's a study, and I work as a cook. I make maybe less than $400 every couple of weeks, and I'm trying to do what I can to put I don't know how I'm paying the bills, but I'm trying to get this $75 to get together to get these webinars or whatnot and put things together. And it's interesting because I got a law library right where I work at.
Right.
And sorry, I've got a call trying to hate on me right now. But
the thing is, what's good about it is, once you let's say you get the webinars and everything, and you start applying it, and it works out for you, then you have a platform, create a different avenue for yourself to help other people. It's a lot of people that need this kind of information to be able to utilize to protect yourself.
They sure do, man, and I get going, and I try to tell people, I get all hyphy or whatnot, but I realize that, I just need to be mellow. I just, sometimes I've kind of resorted not to try to bang people over the head with things, but rather, I feel like my time will not be well utilized doing that I just need to study. If I spend 45 minutes trying to tell somebody who's not really trying to listen, then that was taking away from my opportunity to really get things right and then demonstrate that, because that's really going to be what's going to lead the show. Right, definitely.
All right, man. Well, peace, man. I appreciate, you voicing yourself and everything, man. I'm going to go to the next caller, but just stay tuned in. And if you go to the website, corporatefreedomgroup.com, I have a health section on there where you can kind of look at some different health remedies if you're not aware of them. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
as far
absolutely.
As yeah, go ahead.
Trying to get off the carnivore thing, and that's not an overnight thing either, but I'm stepping towards that, trying to hit that hard, and just appreciate everything you guys are doing, and I'll be tuning in, and I'd love to contribute, because I am studying about different things. I like to keep an eye on, like, the treasury.gov. You just get to digging around in there, you find amazing stuff.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to peep out these old law books or whatever. I found in the law library, I found one, it's Law for the Poor. And it was actually a book demonstrating
Is it before or after 1933?
I think it is. I think it was written in the 40s.
Okay.
And so that's what I look for, is ones when they were still kind of wrestling around with the public law and the HJR,
Yeah.
And you get a look at their mind state. I look at the other books too that are kind of written by the Jewish cats and the bankers or whatever in their mind state,
right,
and kind of how they're talking about how things and they look at things. And so, like this one book, I got that because in the preface, I haven't got too far into it, but they're kind of saying things just like, let's just sweep some of this. We don't want to worry. It's a book for teaching the new lawyers, and it's going, we're not gonna. It's written in the late 30s or 40s or something. Or early 40s, and it's talking about, we're not going to worry about these certain aspects because that's just going to deter from what we want to do,
right.
Which is just keep on steamrolling everybody and whatnot. And,
right,
but I appreciate y'all. Let you get on to the next caller, man, and hopefully I can contribute.
Tune in next week, man. If you get some new information, groundbreaking information, call in and share it with the people,
That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, man.
All right, peace. Okay, let me go to...
Hey, Dwight.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
Go your up to the top, because you missed a couple of calls up there.
I know. I see it. I was just going to do that. I see who got the questions up.
Okay.
We'll go to 716-544. Peace.
Paul can't do nothing but to get that nigga.
Peace. Who is this? Who is this? 716-544. Don't make me say your whole number.
What we doing tonight?
That's Jonas.
Your pants is down. God.
I'm going to go to somebody else. I don't know. I'm going to go to 703-856. Peace.
Hey, Dwight. How are you? It's Sharice.
Hey, how you doing? Peace, peace.
Peace. Keith told me to dial up, and I am so happy that I did.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, and you are talking about what I need to hear about.
Okay, you got any questions about it? Anything?
Yes, I do. I missed the first part of the call, but basically,
all right.
I just dropped my 5.1 constitutional challenge in my case. It's a federal case, and make a long story short, of course, the judge tried to appoint an attorney to me, and I said I don't consent. I do not consent in the courtroom, but he appointed him anyway, and I fired the attorney in an affidavit, put it on the record. I sent my 5.1 constitutional challenge to challenge the federal statutes, notary presentment, to the clerk. They put it on the record. So basically what's happening now is it's supposed to go to trial May 19th, but what they're trying to do is they're still trying to force this attorney on me. So my question to you is, now that my 5.1 is on the record, I just want to know how I should proceed to make sure that I get this shut down properly.
Okay, now let me I don't want to get too personal into the details of what you're in there for. You said it's a federal?
Yeah.
Okay, is it a non-violent?
Oh yeah, it has to do with mortgages, and it's
I was
bullshit
about
anyway.
to say, you ain't beat nobody up, did you? No.
Oh hell no! Oh no!
Okay.
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Okay. Okay. Now, did you have your birth certificate authenticated?
Yes, I did. I had all that. My birth certificate authenticated all the way up, the affidavit of ownership, certified copy of the Constitution, DBA, everything. Did you do it when you did the 5.1? Did you parallel with that? Did you do a rebuttal of the charges? Anything that they're charging? Yes, I did. Yep, I sure did.
Okay. And you sent the notary presentment?
That is correct.
Okay. Now, when you went into court and they say, okay, let's say they called your name, they called the name, how did you respond to that?
Well, I haven't been there in a while, but when I did, I basically said that I'm a living, breathing woman, gave my name, last name first name, middle name. So I don't know if that was right or not.
Okay, what state is this then?
Virginia.
Okay, did you do a fictitious name or assumed name certificate?
Yeah, a DBA?
Yeah, DBA.
Yes, yep, I sure did.
Now, did you do it on the county level or the state level?
The county level.
Okay, see, now what I normally do is I do them on the state level and the county does it. I do them on the state level and the state does it on the county level for me. If I do anybody's case out here in New York, we don't just go straight to the county and do a DBA. It's because when the thing is when they let's say when you're born or get a license or anything like that, they create a certificate of incorporation, and the true name of the certificate of incorporation is your last name, comma, first name and middle name.
Right.
So when you go to court, they switch it around and they're bringing you in there under a fictitious name. So what you're going to want to do is get a certificate of assumed name certificate of assumed name, and you're going to want to put that on the record. So you may have to look in Virginia and look up how to do that, and then you're going to fill out the application. And personally, I would have to see your application and the application in Virginia to figure out how to fill it out. I couldn't tell you how to fill it out because I never filled one out in Virginia. And that would distinguish you from the fictitious name from, you know, you being a real woman or the real party in interest.
Okay,
so what you're going to do is they're going to play that game and try to get you to trial, right? But now, even if you get to trial, you know, first you have to do a writ of error. When you put your when you go to the Rule 5.1, right, and it's for the federal statute, they have 60 days to intervene. The Attorney General. Did he write a letter and say that he's not going to intervene, or did he come down there personally and certify the charges?
No, he didn't write a letter, and he hasn't responded yet.
Okay, so has it been 60 days past yet?
Nope, not yet.
Okay, so now is the trial date set after 60 days from the day you put it in, or is it before?
It's before.
Okay. Generally what happens is they'll tell you trial. I had a couple cases where they've been saying trial. Every day that I was supposed to go into court was supposed to be trial. So it was like, you coming in trial next week, I get in next week, trial 2 weeks, I get in 2 weeks, trial 2 months. You know, they kind of play that game. And they'll do that. But you know, what you're gonna tell them, what I would tell them is that I would say that you know, I don't understand. I haven't received a response to my affidavit or my challenge, so I don't understand the nature and cause of these proceedings. So I can't move forward, you know, until I get a response according to the the rule. So that's about, you know, the best thing you can do, and they'll try to get you in there and just, you know, scare you and intimidate you and trick you because they know they don't have jurisdiction now to make a decision on the merits of the case.
Okay.
Do you follow me?
I follow you completely.
So what you're going to do is after the 60 days, you're going to do the writ of error after the 60 days. Now, if they try to go to trial and try to do anything else, you're still going to do a writ of error, and, you know, it'll go, if it goes to the appellate court, you know, they should push it back down to that court and tell them that, you know, they stepped outside of their jurisdiction. But any case that we've ever dealt with never went that far, even though they said that trial. That's the same thing they did with me. They told me that trial was coming up, you know, but you got to make sure you get that writ of error in, and then you want to work on getting that DBA to put that in as well, through the state.
Okay, so
hey, Dwight,
when you
let me ask you, can I add something?
Yeah, go ahead.
That 5.1, it has to go to trial because that's the only place you can enter evidence. So what the trick they play is, we're going to trial, and if you don't know what's got to happen, you think you're going to trial when you're not. So that's when it gets dismissed, or you won't hear anything more about it when it goes to that point, because they can't answer that 5.1 because you challenging the Constitution on that. So they can't answer it. So when it gets to that point, a lot of people get afraid, they got me going to trial. That's what you want, because at that point is when you win. You understand?
But the trial never really happens, though, correct?
No, it never happens. That's just paperwork. It never happens.
Okay.
If you do it correctly, it never happens. That's just paperwork. That's what they have to do. That's the procedure they have to follow. But when it gets to that point, in some cases, you show up to the courtroom and nobody's there.
Right.
You know. So that's the game they play. You know. Yeah,
that also happened with me, where I showed up and it was empty. I was the only one in the courtroom waiting for the judge to come in. He came in with a suit on.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's not a bad thing when it goes to trial. As long as you get all your paperwork up to that point.
The thing I believe with the trial, if it's going to go to trial, you know, you let them force it. Don't say you want a certain type of trial, because if you get in there and say you want a jury trial,
Yeah.
Yeah, if you say you want a jury trial, then they'll get you under their jurisdiction with a jury trial instead of a trial by jury. They'll try to switch it up.
Obviously, yeah, because obviously, you know, I got my 5.1 paperwork in. What I'm looking to see happen is, you know, they've got this scheduled for May 19th. I'm looking, now that it's in, for them, yes, to lead me to believe that it's going to trial, but just like you guys are talking about, I show up and they shut it down. But I do know that their last-ditch hope is that I cave in and recontract with this court-appointed attorney.
Mm-hmm. Let them know you're the registered owner, you know, of the property.
Okay.
They're trying to get jurisdiction over you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, but that's been one of the biggest problems, and I keep saying to Keith and to Ron and to Jonah, there has got to be just a clear-cut way to shut these damn courts down when they try to appoint counsel on you. Even though you say, I don't want counsel, I do not consent. And I've already sent the affidavit. I said you're fired. So he sends me a new letter that I just got today saying, basically, oh, the judge appointed me to represent you. Wait, I got your letter that you're firing me. However, you cannot fire me because the judge appointed me to your case, and only the judge or the court can fire me. So please contact me to this. Yeah, go ahead.
If you, I had a case similar to that, which was a federal case that I was working with for somebody.
Uh-huh.
If you, they have a paper, I believe, some type of paper with the clerk's office where you can put in to fire the attorney. I'm not sure how it works out there.
Really?
Yeah, you would have to go. And it's something where it's like rules. It has rules, and they'll tell you that you can release the attorney. I don't know if you have to go that route, but, you know, that's something to look into and see if you can find it out there in Virginia like it is up here in upstate New York.
All right, I'll look for that. Otherwise, I'll just be doing my affidavit again, right?
Yeah, you'll be I mean, you can say it as well. You know, you can say it as well. You know, you tell them you're competent to manage your own affairs, and you know, you don't consent to whoever that attorney is, and he's fired, you know.
Yeah.
With the three rule, the golden rule.
The rule of three.
I always get them fired all the time. I don't know what it is. They just move out my way for some reason. I just get in there and I keep it calm and say what I got to say. I don't get in there and, you know, too much back and forth with them, trying to argue with them. And I always get the attorneys to sit down and never come back again.
Well, you know what it is, you guys?
Times. Yeah.
What it is I dropped that 5.1 on their asses. So they're like, okay, listen, this is the only way we can hopefully hem her up, is if we can trick her into thinking that you represent her. So that way he can try to, you know, strike it from the record. I don't even think they can even do that, can they?
No, they depends. In their courtroom, you know, they can omit the record, they can hide it, they can, you know, spill some water on it, they can do all types of things in there.
Oh man!
You know,
yeah, it's on there. The court did exactly what he was supposed to do. He put it right on the record. That notary presentment.
Yeah.
So I was happy about that.
Well, the thing is, you want to keep resorting to that as well. You know what I mean? You want to keep resorting to that. That, you know, you haven't received a response according to the rule. You know, no one came in to certify any charges personally. Attorney General will have to come in personally. You know.
Right.
So then you're gonna do your writ of error, and you're gonna motion for dismissal in your writ of error. For it's gonna be for lack of failure to state a claim for which relief can be granted.
Which can be granted.
Yeah.
Right.
Then when you look into there's gonna be other things as well. You can put all of those in there. You know what I mean? It's Rule something B6, Federal Rules 12B6 of the Federal Rules of Procedure.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This was very helpful. And I'm so happy
that you told me to dial in. Godspeed on that case, and if, you know, when you knock them out, come and share the news, you know?
Oh, absolutely. I'll be more than happy to. Thank you so much, Dwight. I appreciate the help.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
Okay, I'm going to go to another caller. Hope everybody enjoying the show so far, you know. And this is one of my first shows, you know, holding it down by myself. And I'm having fun, you know, just being able to share things with people and being able to have ears, you know. And I would say, you know, if things work out for you, share it with other people. Get the word out. I'm going to go to 716-895. Peace.
Peace to the Get On.
Hey, what up?
What's up? What's good?
I know
man?
the voice.
I hear you. Yeah, I know you do. That's how I be when you get on and Jonah be on. He be knowing your voice. Like, okay.
Yeah, this is one of the dudes, my friend Thugs, man. You know that I was talking about when he the first one that started working with me on winning these cases when he had all those tickets.
man, I'm gonna tell you,
1,000 tickets. You got tired of that shit, huh?
Man, listen, they kept fucking with me, man. Like, listen, my thing is, you know, when I first started, I thought the boy was crazy. You know, he was telling me that I can do this and I can do that. I'm like, you can't do that. You can't. Nah, you gotta have, you know. But you know, just like we was all programmed at one time. So I remember following what he told me to do, you know. And I remember saying, you know, whatever I said at the time, and I remember they said, okay, Mr. So, you know, me, sit down and we're going to take you. Now, at this time, it's a court. The court is full. You can't even sit down. Man, do you know I was the last motherfucker out of there, man? I thought I'm like, they about to come in here and beat the shit out of me. I'm texting my man like, oh, they're about to get me. Help me, Scotty, they're going to get me. But anyway, what happened was, man, the judge called me up. You know, we said a couple of things. Now, literally, it's me, the judge, and the DA, and the what do you call it? The bailiff. But he's out in the hallway, like he ain't bothering me. But so the judge is like, okay, I'll be back. He just gets off the bench and walk in the back. So basically, it's an empty courtroom around closing time, and it's just me and the freaking prosecutor guy. And he looking at me, and I'm looking at him like, what the fuck is going on? What is going to be? So then he goes, hey, mister, come on over here. Let's sit down at this table. So now it's nobody in the courtroom. It's me and him sitting at the table. I'm like, I'm losing my mind right now. I'm like, is this shit serious? So he goes, well, you know, now let me tell you this. They told me, you know, I had a ticket every week back then. You know what I mean? So I was a little careless, a little wild. So this is probably like a third seatbelt ticket and second speed. You know, I just had a whole bunch of them. So, you know, they told me I can't reduce it. You know what I mean? Like, you know how they give you. They tell you anything. Can't reduce it. You got to pay this. It's going to pay this to get your license. Blah, 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 back. It's going to be about $1,500 for this. Then you got to pay
when the last time you had a license?
Oh, man, I don't know. I mean, I gave it back, man. That drink cost too much. Now I ride for free. You know?
Yeah, me too.
I know, man. But anyway, I'm gonna break that up. I ended up paying $10, man. $10. Like, it was to the point where he said, "Well, what you got in your pocket?" And I remember running straight from the courtroom, going to the studio, like, yo, look at the paper. Look, yo, they told me I had to pay almost $2,000. Yo, I paid $10, yo. I'm like, yo, you a genius. You a genius, B. And you know what? You know what Dwight said to me, man, after all that? He looked at me and said, man, you shouldn't have paid nothing. You lost.
Yeah, I remember that time. You had that. They stopped you for they were saying you didn't have a license, but they let you ride off. And when you went
that was Virginia.
Dismissed it like the first day or something like that. What happened with that?
That was in Virginia, man. I think at this time I might have been kind of flagged. You know how when you.
I was talking about that time in West Seneca as well. Remember that time?
Oh yeah, after that show, you right? Yeah. So
bunch of cases.
Sure did. Yeah, I think right. It was so many, man. Yeah, after the show. Yeah, in West Seneca. Got pulled over. You know, I didn't have a license. You know, that's what they say. And yeah, he gave me a little trouble, whatever. And it's funny because I said a couple of things to him, blah blah blah, and he's like, okay, well, I'm just gonna write you a ticket, and he let me, quote fingers there, drive off. You know what I mean? Like, you know, normally they take your carriage and all of that, take your car and shit. He actually let me drive off. So I go to court. I go. I follow what Dwight say. You know, he give me a little paperwork, little things to say. So I get in the office. You know, they let you sit in the office with the guy to try to plead down and blah, blah, blah. So he has like a line. It's looking like a freaking, like a slaughterhouse. You know, here, $200 for you, $80 for you. I come in and I sit down. I'm the only guy sitting down. Like, I come in cocky as ever. Like, I come sit down, put my arm around the chair like I live there. So he looks at me like, is this fucking guy serious? So he looks at the guy. He reads my name, and then he looks at the bailiff standing next to him. He says, does this guy have any suspensions or anything or whatever? They call it in like a warrant right there. He comes back like, nah, he's clear. He just has this. He didn't even say anything. He just wrote on the thing, here, take this up to the judge. I'm like, okay, well, fuck it, whatever, man. I look down at the paper, that shit say dismiss. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, y'all didn't even try. Like, you didn't even try that time.
Well, yo, I'm gonna let you go ahead and stay in if you want to stay in. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna mute the joint. I'm gonna stay in and just listen. Go ahead. Yeah, take another caller.
Another caller.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. 414-888.
All right, Peace. Peace. You already got to me, big bro.
Okay. My bad. I'm just okay. Let me go. Peace.
All right.
Let's go with 913-752.
Yeah, that's me. Peace to the God. Peace to God.
Who that?
This is KC up in Kansas.
Okay.
Yeah, man, this is a wonderful show. You're doing a good job.
Man, I appreciate it, man. You ain't had no questions for me? None?
Oh, yeah. I'm getting to the questions. I'm opening up my, estate, for a bank account.
Right.
What's all needed? Because I just have the ID and the driver's license, and I don't want to use that.
To open up your estate or a bank account?
Right.
What you mean? Going to the bank to do it?
Right. You know, I'm getting rid of using my social and everything. I'm using my estate number. So I'm trying to get a bank account to establish my credit.
Right. You're gonna need a 98 number. You got that?
Yeah, I got that.
Okay. You're gonna be opening it up for the estate. You're gonna need the indenture and everything, the trust indenture.
Okay.
You're just doing it for an estate or a trust?
Well, I'm just doing it for the estate right now. I didn't know you needed a 98 for that, but I'm just doing it for the estate.
Generally they're not going to open it up unless you give them some type of number.
Oh, I got an estate number. Can you use that?
Oh, you got your estate number. You're talking about for the okay, I see what you're talking about.
Yeah, I got that. I'm riding that.
Yeah, you can use that. You should be good with everything you got.
Okay, so it won't be no problem using a driver's license?
Nah, you're not gonna use a driver's license.
Yeah,
I wouldn't use it.
They said I had to have a picture ID and I don't have anything else with a picture on it, so that's what stopped me.
You could. I would say it's going to depend if you already, if you did your non-UCC and gifted everything over into that.
No, I ain't got that for yet.
Because
okay,
it's kind of. Say what? It's kind of looking like if you use the driver's license without doing that, then you kind of still, using their documents.
You're right.
So, I wouldn't use it unless you do something on the back end, on the private end to secure it.
Oh, okay. So you say put it gifted on my UCC, convey gifted and lien on the UCC, and then they'll take care of it.
It should, it should. It's going to depend on the bank's policy and how they accept, people to open up bank accounts. It's going to depend on their policy.
Okay. All right, now, we're putting a notary presentment. I never did that. How you write that notary presentment?
Did you get any of Did you get any the DVDs, like the Discharge DVD or anything like that?
Yeah, it's on there. I got the Discharge.
It should
DVD.
be in there somewhere. It should be in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna check that out. All right. Great show. Well, I appreciate Jonah for putting the crew together in his absence because it's hard to reach him sometimes.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate your time, brother.
Calling in, listening in.
Meeting the rest of the crew, Ron, Khalifa, and Keith. I'm looking to meet all of them. All right. Take care now.
All right. Peace, brother.
Peace out.
Okay, I'm going to go to another caller, 813-277. Peace.
Peace to the God. What's up, bro?
Okay. there you go.
Hey, man, hey, bro, you going in, man. You know what, man? You're excellent in the courtroom, bro. You have great courtroom presence, man. And you can tell it from your experience being enough. You feel me?
That's my thing, man.
Bro.
I have a better time showing people how to do it and doing this stuff than trying to explain it. You know what I mean? Because I'm just about getting it done. So, I'm like, let's go at the case and make it happen and get rid of it, get it dismissed. That's what we want.
Exactly. And yeah, they got they get you on it, boy. They got the right person on it, man. You know how to break this down, bro. This real.
Right. People got to be fearless, man. When they go in there, they got to kind of be fearless to make it happen. They got to have that aura.
And you know what else, Dwight? People got to stop having see, one thing we do when we go to court, we got other things on our mind. We got to leave it outside the court.
Yeah.
When we're going in there, we got to go in there to handle that business right there. You know what I mean? And we
have
to separate that.
Right.
And I can tell you do that when you go in there. You know what I'm saying? That's real.
Definitely, man. Go in there, focus, man. Not consider the outcome, man. You got to go in there and be ready to go all out and make it happen. Expect the worst and wish for the best.
Exactly, man. Have that laser beam focus,
Yeah. And I'm primarily, I'm sharing my beginnings, my humble beginnings, with people so they can kind of learn through my experiences. But but any event, like I'm not personally, I don't play with these courts, man. I get in there and make shit happen. I get the right paperwork from them when they be hiding it from everybody else. I know how to pull them out of it and wrap them up and make them give it out. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So in other words, you know how to go in there and do commerce properly.
Yeah.
Because that's commerce, You're doing commerce properly. That's what's up.
And it's only going to get better and more perfected, more people involved to where, it's going to be common for people to just sue the police for just looking at them funny. You know what I mean? That's the front line right there.
No doubt. For real, bro. And that's what it's going to take, man. We got to be, like you said, we got to be fearless about this.
Yeah, fearless.
What's up, bro?
Well, man, I'm gonna keep you in, man. In case you got something you want to add, you know what I mean. But I definitely appreciate you supporting me and all that.
Oh, definitely,
how I'm
bro.
sounding, man. How I'm sounding. I sound rusty. I sound washed up. I ain't as much as fun as on the Bay. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man, you sound like a general giving out instructions, bro.
Okay, that's what's up, man. That's what's up.
That's real talk, though.
Like I said, my thing is, man, dealing with the courts, going up in there and making it happen, getting the desired results. And, I explain to the best of my ability what it is and, how things work. But you never know. Every situation is particular, so you never know till you're in that exact situation what you're going to do or say or what you have to do or say.
Right. That's real. And that's where your experience come in, man. Your experience is big, and that's what people need, that experience. You know what I mean?
Right. Definitely. So I'm gonna go to the next caller. I'm gonna go to 615, and that's Khalifa, by the way, y'all. In case y'all don't know, with the templeofcommerce.com. You want to check out stuff he got going on. Okay, I'm going to go with 615-804. Peace.
Oh, yeah. Hello, peace.
Who this?
Hello? Oh,
yeah, who's this?
God, it's Tiaka, bro.
Okay, peace to the God. What's good?
Man, yeah, so yesterday I kind of lost the battle in the war, but I didn't lose the case. But, you know, I went in and I told him, I handed him his subpoena back. You got to get out that way, man. Yeah, I handed him his subpoena back and told him, you know, he got my name spelled wrong on the subpoena and the envelope, and for me to do business in that name,
okay, let me say this real quick. Let me say this real quick. When you say you handed him the subpoena back, who is him? The judge, the clerk, the cop? Who you handed it to?
The judge. The judge. I handed it to the bailiff because he came up and asked me.
Okay. Peace. Oh, he must have dropped out.
Oh, my bad, man. My bad.
Okay.
Yeah. I handed it to the judge. And he was like, well, did you get your license? And I was like, well, I'm not here for that. I said, this subpoena due from Texas that was sent to the mailbox, I also get mail from. It's incorrect if you try to address me. And he said, well, how do you spell? And I told, before I say it, I told him if I tried to do any business in that name or sign any contract to that name, then he commit fraud. By Texas business.
The hell?
Yeah, and can y'all hear me, man?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. Sound like something going on over there, man.
Now, my kids, we in the little tunnel.
Right.
Hey, come on, y'all.
How it is, man. We all got children.
Yeah. But anyway, we at the tunnel. It should be good now. All right, so he asked me, how do I spell my name? And I handed the bailiff my authenticated birth certificate and said, that's me there, you know. And I said, and he was the bailiff tried to look through it, and I'm pointing to him like, give it to the judge. And the judge got it, and he said, well, did you change your name legally or something? And I said, no, I didn't. He was like, this how you always spelled your name? And I said, he said, so Tiaka Curry is how you spell your name. Is that your name? And I'm like, no, Curry is a common name that a lot of people in my family use. It's not my name, though. And,
okay, you know, so you just had that court case this morning then?
That was yesterday, yes.
Yesterday, okay.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, did you seek that continuance?
Well, it was continued because you know, he threatened to lock me up twice. Your radio show ain't long enough for me to, you know, keep it going. I mean, we could do that another time. But yeah, he found me in contempt and made me sit down. I said, yeah, I ain't got no problem sitting down. And he basically cleared out the courtroom except for the people he's finna lock up. And he said, okay, Mr. Curry, let's try this again. So I went back up there, and he like, we can do this the hard way or the easy way. And, you know, we started going there to kind of again. I pulled out his oath and held it up and said, I got your oath right here. And he like, none of that matter. And I said, yes, it do matter. We were getting loud with each other. I said, yes, it do matter. I want you on your oath if I'm up here in front of you. And that kind of made him calm down, but then at the same time, the reason why I say I lost the battle because he started doing a Macho Man Randy Savage to me and started going, okay, if you want to do this the hard way, I'm this close to giving you 10 days in jail. And what clicked in my head is, okay, a body attachment. And I was like, I'm not sure if he could do that or not. And so I was like, okay, what you trying to ask? And he like, do you have your license today? I was like, no. And he like, where did you get a license? And I stood there and looked at him, and it was like a 5-second pause of us looking at each other. And he said, well, would you like to drive a truck one day? And I said, yeah, sure, one day, you know, I'll drive a truck, you know, so you'll need a license for that, won't you? And I was like, yeah, you know, I may get a license one day for that. And he like, so how long will it take you? Come on, let's do it the easy way. And so I'm thinking maybe he gave me a way out, you know. So I said, okay, it'll take about a month. And he said, I'm going to give you longer than that because I feel like you need longer than that. And I said, all right, you know. And I said, I'm going to walk out of here and I'm going to start at 5.1 on his ass because that's right. Something I haven't done yet. Yeah. I'm going to just preserve my freedom. Yeah. Go ahead.
Right. Now, you didn't get the 5.1 in yet, right?
Nah, I ain't got that in yet.
Okay. There was a lot of dialogue, and you're supposed to have something on the record before you get in there. When you dialoguing with the judge like that, you're creating controversy, going back and forth with him instead of addressing, you know, the prosecuting party, the party that's prosecuting you. So when you're saying judge about his life, tell him and all that's irrelevant to the matter at hand. Right. You know what I mean? So you don't want to engage in controversy, and they'll have jurisdiction over cases of controversy. And when you're going back and forth like that, you kind of arguing, and then they can argue with contempt. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I made that mistake before, but I learned from making that one mistake and learned how not to do it again. For them to charge me with contempt. Right. So basically, you know, drop.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Question for the gentleman. On that birth certificate you handed him, did you have it authenticated and was it affidavit with?
Yeah, everything on it. I had everything on it. The notary was the notary, not the notary presentment, but the notarial authentication and everything. It was all the way up. It's always good.
But what about the affidavit saying that you're the owner?
All that.
All that.
Okay. Only problem with that is you didn't serve all parties. See what I'm saying? Right. So that's kind of ambushing the court when you come in there and you don't serve all parties and give everybody notice. Mm-hmm. So you're supposed to serve, you know, you're supposed to serve the prosecutor, you're supposed to serve the court, you're supposed to serve the attorney general, and you also are supposed to serve the Supreme Court.
Supreme Court, my particular state.
Yeah, whatever the Supreme Court is in that state, they might have a county branch, you know, or something around there.
Okay. Gotcha.
You got to have that stuff in before you go to court so you can avoid all of the dialogue back and forth and all that. Like I said, man, these people. Go ahead.
No, I had an affidavit I put in beforehand, but I don't think it was. I think it was all right, but we didn't even get to discuss that because we got tied up with my name and who I'm supposed to be.
You had the birth certificate. So, you know, you saying my name is spelled wrong is still saying it's not you. It's saying it's you, but y'all just spelled it wrong. So now they're going to spell it right, and then they're going to wrap you up. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I told them that, you know, if I did business in that name that subpoena was on, that I'd be committing fraud. So I couldn't do business. Yeah, go ahead.
But that's what the assumed name certificate is for, depending on, you know, the rules in your state, the fictitious name certificate, to do business in their court, you know, where they can't hold you liable.
Right.
And that's what they did back in the days. They would come in the courts with all these fictitious names where they can escape liability. So, you know, you may have to do the fictitious name certificate and get it in the court.
Yeah.
Whatever time he gave you, you want to utilize that time to get your paperwork in as quick as possible so it sinks in with him when he get it. You know what I'm saying? And know that you're not playing. Because like I said, if you go in there and you don't have everything precise, you know, they'll try to make a mockery out of you so nobody follow your path.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so if you come in there and go ahead, I'm sorry.
Hey, this Khalifa, can I ask something, bro?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely, man. I heard one thing that I heard that we need to address is he said that I had an authenticated birth certificate, and he said I handed it to him, and that's me right there. We have to realize that even though that birth certificate is authenticated, that is still not us on that paper. That's an entity.
Hey, but you know, there would be, if he misconstrued that ain't my intention. I'm talking about the affidavit of ownership. Is me,
I know.
How you spell my name. Right.
Right, but what I heard you say, you said I handed him my birth certificate, and that's me right there. You see what I'm saying? We can't say that because that's a separate entity. Even though it's authenticated, that is not me, because if I leave my birth certificate, my authenticated birth certificate on my table and I go to the store, is that me on the table or am I at the store?
Hey, well, let me say, I feel you, fam, but let me say this one thing that fired him up, because when he was asked, you know, my father's last name Curry, which, you know, they passed that down to me, and when we was stuck on that, I said, you know, the debtor's last name is Curry, and that's what fired him up, and he started waving his hands like a magician. This has nothing to do with that, you know. And I said, well, this is a commercial venue. And he was like, oh, no, this has nothing to do with that. I was like, what are you talking about? Sit down, you in contempt. Right there. That's how it happened. Hey,
you know what I noticed about that? You said he cleared the courtroom out. So that's kind of that's kind of a sign right there that once you put in the right thing, that you're going to have an advantage for him to clear the courtroom out. He was trying to hide certain things. That's a pattern. They do that everywhere. Even when I went from New York even to Atlanta to different counties out here, when I went for people or when I went for myself, they always clear the courtroom out. So that's like a universal thing that they do. So you're gonna it's like boxing, man. You're gonna throw punches, they're gonna throw punches, you know, but you're gonna be able to put your paperwork together and throw better punches than they're throwing. And I believe you're gonna win that case, man, just by him clearing the courtroom out. That speaks volumes.
Yeah. Right. But I think he kind of won that battle because, you know, I didn't want.
He didn't win. He didn't win. You didn't plead anything, did you?
Huh?
You didn't take a plea, did you?
Oh, hell no.
Oh, so he didn't win. He didn't win. It just got adjourned. He didn't win. You know, they're going to use it. They're going to use that judicial force, you know, to say things like contempt and, you know, try to get you to do things. But you got to have a go-to phrase as well. You got to tell them something like, you know, I don't consent to entering into contracts against my will. You know what I mean? On it for the record. You got to hit them with something to bounce them up off of you. If you're not hitting them with anything, they're going to keep coming full force and keep controversing with you.
Yeah, but I downloaded that 5.1 template, so I've been kind of like getting that together. And
now the
I'm gonna get.
Let me say this: the writ of error is synonymous with the 5.1. In some cases, we've been able to do some cases and get rid of them just with the 5.1 in like 3 or 4 days or a week.
Right.
But you're going to need that writ of error as well, you know, for if the 60 days are up. You know what I'm saying? You got to read the rule, too. You got to read the rules. Even when you're getting this paperwork and you putting it out and writing it out, you got to study it as well so you can know how it's working. And you got to know that you're in a political question. So you can even word some of that in your paperwork. You know what I mean? You're raising a political question, and they can't rule on that. And not only that, whoever's charging you, the prosecutor, they don't have standing to charge you, especially if they're not facing any type of injury or anything like that. They have about like 3 points to standing. They don't have it. But yeah, man, if you need some guidance on putting anything else together, man, just hit me up. And
I'm definitely gonna get at you. I'm gonna keep listening nightly, daily. So
definitely, man. This gotta be a habit, man. Become second nature.
Right.
Okay, man. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go to the next caller. And man, Godspeed. Okay, I'm going to go to 843-801. Peace.
Peace to the gods.
Peace to the God. Who this?
It's Carlos.
Did I talk to you already? Nah?
Nah, not today.
Okay, you got your hand up. You got a question or anything?
Yeah, I got like 3 questions. I got a question about this assumed name certificate because I've been looking at it and I hadn't dug too deep in it, so I'm looking at the form right now.
What state?
South Carolina.
Okay. Is it a fictitious or is it called assumed name or what is it called? Trade name?
Well, this is what it's called: assumed name certificate of limited partnership.
Okay.
That's the name of it. And what I'm wondering is, because they also have one for like a foreign corporation as well, but I was like, I don't think that would really fit what I'm trying to do as far as assumed name. Well,
the thing, how the assumed name supposedly works, how it works out here. You know, I've been able to get numerous of those for people. You know, the assumed name, and they're not easy to get either. They're difficult because you have to be precise in getting them. So let's say you got the application right there in your hand. When, like I said, when you were born, you know, or when you got the license or whatever, they created the certificate of assumed name. Now, they created where it's your last name, comma, first name, and middle name, and that's the company. That's like, let's say if McDonald's is the company, but then they have the Big Mac. See what I'm saying? They're doing business in the Big Mac. So when you fill out that application, if it don't match the certificate of assumed name that they have on file, they won't give it to you. They'll say we have no corporation on our file by this name. So it has to match. So when you get your your certificate of live birth, that's the name that more than likely it's going to match with because that's the original document.
Yeah, we don't have a certificate of live birth in South Carolina, supposedly.
You don't have a certificate of live birth in South Carolina?
Nah, only a birth certificate.
That's impossible. That's what I've been told. The birth certificate is derived from the certificate of live birth.
Right.
You gotta,
I've called around, and I even called the what is it? Vital Statistics. They were like they don't have a certificate of live birth.
That's something I gotta look into. Yeah, I gotta look into something like that because
you ordered a
lot of people. They did that to. Go ahead. No, they did that to a few people, and they said, they didn't have it, and then I was able to call and get them to admit that they had it, and not only that, to drop it. You know what I mean? So they could be lying to you, man. You got to dig into that some more and try to wrap them up in what they're saying, or just look at the law surrounding that. But even if they don't, you could still use the birth certificate, but it should have another document, the application, the original application that it originated from. It didn't just originate from the birth certificate. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, because that's a computer-generated copy. Then they should have a photocopy where it got the original signature of your mother. Only way they won't really give you that is if it's a case of adoption or something and they seal the record. And then you would have to, go to court for it to get it.
Dwight, isn't the long form birth certificate has that snapshot? That's what that is, right?
Yeah, that's the long form. The certificate of live birth is the long form.
I'm in South Carolina. I have to get one for my son. He's got his.
Okay, you got one.
That's what
I'm saying.
It's not titled. I guess, like I said, they don't title it certificate of live birth. It just has birth certificate.
It should say certificate of birth, certificate of something.
Yeah. It's
going
to have all of the details on it.
Right, the original, like original signatures and all of that.
Yeah.
That's what you look
for. Details. Yeah.
You get something.
The time of birth and all of that stuff. See,
man, you might want to hit up Akeem. You might want to hit up Akeem and see how he got that. You know what I'm saying?
Just went down there to the place down here in Columbia and My son got it. He did it himself. Long form, had it authenticated all the way up and everything. It's the long form, not the short form.
Our short form is like a card.
Right.
And that ain't what I got. I got the long form. I got some short form, but I got the long one, and it don't. Ours just say birth. The one I have, it just says birth certificate.
And they got
long abstract. That's what it.
But it got all the details on it, right?
As far as the mother, the father.
And it got the time, date and time you was born and all of that stuff.
I don't think that's on there. I don't think that's on there.
Does it have the doctor on there?
None of that stuff.
They gave you a computer generated copy,
right?
Which is not original. The original certificate of live birth is not the long form. You know, if they give you that, we had the situation where I used to send people to the building to get their birth certificate, and what they'll do is they'll give them the computer generated copy, and then I would either go down there with them, and then we explain it to them, or either I tell them go back down there and get the other copy, tell them they gave you the wrong one. And like Akeem said, he said his son just did it, so it can be done.
Yeah. And you know what, Dwight? That's really all he needs. Just authenticate that all the way up, and you got the title.
Yeah, but the thing with that is when you're doing the certificate of assumed names, they have to match precisely. Now I had a situation where this kid had his birth certificate, so we kept trying to do the assumed name off his birth certificate, and it wouldn't go through. So I said, go get your certificate of live birth, and sure enough, the names were different. When we used the name on a certificate of live birth, it went through. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's just to ensure accuracy. You don't want to misspell anything, then you don't get your certificate of assumed name.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I gotta go because I do have a birth certificate authenticated, but I don't have that live birth. So I guess I got that. Like you said, the computer-generated copy, which that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because it don't have, like, the time, the doctor. It don't have none of that on there. It just it got, like, I'm looking for one of mine right now. But it has, like, it don't have, like, none of the hospital information. None of that, I don't think. It's very, very basic.
Right.
What size is it? 8x11?
Yeah, it's like a sheet of paper, 8x11. I think I got. Let me see. Let me tell you what it got on it. It's limited, man. It don't have nothing. It got the state file number, name of the registrant, birth date.
All you really looking for is the original signatures. That's what's going to be on there. But that sounds like the short form right there.
When you say original signatures of like,
it's going to be photocopy. It's going to be photocopy of like when your mother signed it when you were born.
Right.
Like and if your father was there, he may have signed it. The doctors that signed it,
Right.
It just got the date of the record file, date issued.
Yeah, I already know that's not it. Just by what you're saying, I know that's not the proper document, but all in all, you can still try to use that name on there. It may be exactly the same as the other one. So I'm just telling you a little situation, that we had, and then we had to figure it out by going to the original document to figure out that was the name that should have been on there, the name of the certificate of incorporation.
So I need to go to Bull Street then.
Yeah, and ask them for the original document, the actual document that was filled out when you teach.
A photocopy of that one.
Yeah. You see, mine, I'm from New York. They sent me basically a photocopy of the original document with all of the details. Like, it's the original birth certificate that it looked, from back then.
And it's on the bond paper and all. It's on the bond paper.
Yeah, it's on the bond paper. It's just, that's what it looks like. It looks like the original document, the actual certificate of live birth. Okay. That you have the hospital, whoever that person that comes in and signs and witnesses.
Yeah, it don't have none of that on there.
It has all that
basic.
on there. Yeah. Date, time, mother, father name, all of that.
Okay.
But see,
yo,
it'll.
I'm gonna get you. You could probably holler at Akeem, man. He gonna be on Tuesday, right, Akeem?
Yeah, I'll be on Tuesday. I know who Carlos is. He got my number.
Yeah, okay, or y'all can link up, so you can get him that information on how to do that, and that'll probably help him better than going down there by himself. When you already got.
I know what to do. I thought I had the real deal. But okay.
Okay. I see what you mean. They tried to trick you.
Yeah. Ain't no tried.
They tricked you.
Yeah.
Oh man, that happens a lot though, man. Like I said, I had that happen with a few people, where they try to give them that. But what I noticed when we first started going there getting that, they were really upset that we were asking for that form. I mean, for that long form. They were upset. And then the first time they tried to hide it, but then it's so common now. We sent at least 40 people down there, and they so used to it, they already know. Like, they just walk up and go get it. No problem.
All right. Well, I'll be there Monday then. Okay. I guess another question I wanted to ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Attorney General, if he don't, let's say he don't certify anything on like when you do the 5.1 challenge. Let's say he don't respond at all.
That's good.
Yeah.
You don't want him to respond.
Okay.
Then you do after 60 days. You do your writ of error because let me go to the 5.1 real quick. It says intervention, final decision on the merits, unless the court let it time to may intervene within 60 days. Okay, that's C. That's going to be on a 5.1. That's going to be C. On intervention, final decision on the merits. Unless the court sets a later time, the Attorney General may intervene within 60 days after the notice is filed or after the court certifies the challenge, whichever is earlier. So they're saying he got 60 days to intervene. But then they say that, the judge may not the court may not enter into a final judgment holding the statute unconstitutional. So you don't want him to intervene. Even if he does, he's going to have to certify some code law, which he can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm listening.
So when they don't intervene after that 60 days, you drop the writ of error, and then they can do what they want. If they want to take it to trial, let them take it to trial. You're gonna have your evidence.
My question with that is, what if, let's say, you don't want to enter a plea, but the judge chooses to enter one in for you?
In that case, I would ask them, are you entering one in for me, or are you entering one in for the defendant? See what I'm saying? I would make them clarify that. When you say entering the plea for me, I would make them clarify if it's for me or the defendant. See what I'm saying?
Well,
and he can't enter one in for you, so to speak. So when he says something like that, he's referring to the corporation, the estate, or something like that. He's not referring to you. So you got to make that distinguishment if he says something like that. I had judges do that before, but, that didn't stick. It didn't really matter. It didn't stick. And then, you can also – go ahead.
What I was going to ask is what they trying to do in these traffic courts, because I ain't dealing with no big stuff. I ain't on no fed level. I ain't trying to go there either. But
right.
What they do is they ask you, the first thing they want to ask you is, how do you wish to plead? And then when you say you don't wish to enter a plea, they like, I guess they would try and enter one for you, or they'll say they will enter one for you, meaning they gave you like a bench trial right then and there.
Yeah, they'll do that, but then like I said, that's when you're gonna get them to clarify who they're entering the plea for. You know, you're going to say something to the effect, you know, you entering that plea for me or the defendant. You know, however you have to word it to them.
Okay.
But generally, you know, that don't really mean anything. They just do that so they can get it to the next date. But you know,
the thing is, they finalize it. They try and finalize it. Don't be no next date. They enter a guilty plea and then they try. They
can't enter a guilty plea. When do they enter a guilty plea?
Yeah, I had that happen.
What do you mean? What do you mean? You went in there and
agreed to it.
No,
you
I
went in
didn't
there and
agree
they
to
said we think you guilty, and they just found you guilty.
Well, yeah, after I said everything I said, no, the Attorney General never certified nothing, and even though I said she asked me how did I wish to plea, and then I was like, I don't wish to plea at all.
Well, did you put your birth certificate on record and all that?
Yeah, but I didn't. I guess I didn't go in there asking them who gave them the permission to bring up these proceedings. I didn't ask that question.
You could be. Thing is, if you enter into controversy as well, you know they're claiming jurisdiction, so you could have entered into controversy by dialoguing with the judge and with the courts and all that. But I don't see how they can enter a plea of guilty and just find you guilty, man. Like, especially if you asserted your standing and everything.
What I did was I was like, when she said what she said, I was like, I wanted to go through the documents that I had. So she was like, how do you wish to plea? At first I was like, I don't wish to plea anything. And she was like, if you don't enter in a plea, I'm gonna enter one in for you. That's what she said.
And then she said her plea was guilty.
I think she said she was gonna say. I think she was gonna go with not guilty. I think.
You think? You don't know what she said?
I gotta go get the transcript, man.
Okay. But I never heard that, man. I never heard that.
I have to call back with that, man. These lawyers in these robes down here, they asserting their will right now, man.
I can't feel just saying guilty though.
I know.
I think she's not guilty.
That's what I'm saying. I think she said not guilty, a not guilty plea.
Right,
but she was going to continue with it. She was going to continue with it. As in, she was going to do a bench trial right then and there instead of a jury trial.
Right. And that's after you put the 5.1 in?
Yeah. I had all.
Now, did they do any of that? Did they do anything? They can't. The thing is, man, they're gonna threaten you and all that, man. They didn't do anything though.
No, they didn't threaten me or none of that.
I mean, they're gonna enter pleas for you. Then they're gonna say we're gonna do this and we're gonna proceed. And we don't know nothing about your paperwork. You know, they do things like that to make you lose.
Well, I guess the thing is, I wanted to get to the bench. Well, the reason why I was like, I told them I'd do a bench because I wanted to go through the documents that I already submitted to see how she was going to respond.
When you tell them you want to do a bench trial, you pretty much consenting to their jurisdiction. So you becoming a ward of the court. You tell them you want to
let them do that.
Yeah, let them move. You don't supposed to go in there and start saying what you want. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't like they tell me you're going to go to trial and we're going to do trial. What would you like to do? I tell them y'all can do whatever y'all want. That don't concern me. You know what I'm saying? I'm the registered owner here for that matter. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't get into the dialogue with them. I let them go ahead, and I like to test them. I want to see what they're going to do, which is generally nothing. They don't do anything. They want me to cut up in court so they can do a contempt of court, and then they can get me that way. That's what they want, but you can't give them that.
Okay.
But I think tune in next week, man. You know, I appreciate everybody calling in, man. I think I put in enough time. You know, and like I said, you know, I'm better at my thing is I'm better at actually hands on. You know, getting up in the morning, going to that courtroom, observing what's being said, and then developing strategies. You know, that's my thing, because even though you put the paperwork in, it's still not the ends if you don't know how to support it and move with it. You know, some people will put it in and think it's supposed to just work like that, but then they don't know what they're doing or how it worked, and then they get wrapped up, and then they come back like, oh, man, that didn't work. But that's not the case. The case is they didn't know how to work it.
Right. So what you're saying, Dwight, they need to be prepared before they go into that courtroom and not flying by the seat of their pants.
Yes, they need to know how to keep them liable and keep the checks and balances in place. That's why they have separate branches of government for checks and balances. You raise that constitutional question, you're putting that check and balance in place. You're telling the judicial branch that, you know, the legislative branch has jurisdiction over this, and they don't.
Right. Let me ask this then. Even if, let's say I say a bench trial, if the Attorney General didn't certify, how can she even enter in a how can she find it guilty anyway? How can she ignore the constitutional challenge anyway?
They didn't ignore it. They didn't ignore it. They got 60 days. The Attorney General has to come in. You're dealing. See, the courts, they're going to do a judicial review and make a ruling. You know what I mean? They can't rule on it and make a final determination.
Now, when you say judicial review, you talking about after appealing, or you talking about at the Article 1 court? That's what I'm.
The Article 1 court, the thing is, they switch hats. You know what I'm saying? They jump out of jurisdictions and all that. And also, when you file with the clerk's office is like the Supreme Court clerk.
Hold on, when you say clerk, you're not talking about the one. You're not talking about the one in that.
That paperwork.
You're talking about the head clerk.
That paperwork goes up to the When you put in that paperwork, it goes to the Supreme Court as a file, as a civil case, as a suit. So what they do is they got a civil case on you when you're in court, and then they got you in the inferior courts trying to fight it, and you're not making the record being in the inferior courts. So that's why you either have to say on and for the record, or you have to send your documents or your 5.1 to the Supreme Court. And if the reason why I know this as well, because when I send somebody's paperwork to the Supreme Court, and if they don't have a file number in the Supreme Court, they'll send it back. But if they do have a file number, they'll keep it. You know what I'm saying? So when you put your paperwork in and the Supreme Court keeps it, then you know that they sent it up to that court, and it's just sitting there uncontested.
So, wow, you just blew me away with that one. I never heard that before. So when you get a regular traffic,
right,
and the Supreme Court actually has a file of that too.
Yeah, they got this.
Wow.
They got this thing called. Matter of fact, when you look into the, let me see. Let me find this here. Okay, when you look into the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, where it says Rule 2, one form of action, there's one form of action, the civil action. They're saying all actions are civil. See what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah, there's only one form of action. Okay.
The civil action.
Yeah.
So what they want is, like I said, they want you to get in there and make a case or controversy so they can have jurisdiction, and they can go ahead and do the things that they do. That's why you have to rebut their affidavits. You have to rebut their tickets and all that, which is affidavits.
I did that. I thought.
Well, did you send it to the Supreme Court as well?
Nah, I didn't. That's the first time I ever heard that right there. I'd have never known that the file was even in the Supreme Court. They even had a file of that.
Oh, they're not going to tell you. They're not going to tell you that because they don't want you to be able to contest it with the Supreme Court. See, when you can make it for the record as well, but when you send it to the Supreme Court, then you're doing it directly. You know, they can get rid of the record, like I said, if you do it just within their jurisdiction.
Okay, so basically, all right. Wow, that's crazy. So you would send your constitutional challenge and that traffic ticket, whatever number that is, to the Supreme Court, challenging it, and I guess you would tell them like which lower court, where it's at, and everything else. And,
well, I generally just send them. I send them copies of whatever I submit to the Attorney General and to the District Attorney and to the court. I send a copy to the Supreme Court, and like I said, when they don't have that on file, they'll send it back and they'll tell you something different. But if they have it on file, they'll keep it.
Wow. Okay. All right.
But go ahead.
I was that's some different information right there. That's deep right there. I would have never known. Now,
if you want to get into that, man, the specifics of that, man, hit up the website, man. Set up a consultation, and then I'll break it down precise. Walk you through it and get it done. You know what I mean?
Okay. So that's the two things I got to dig into. Yes, I want to get this DBA out the way, but I got to get the correct birth record. This is a birth certification.
Right.
It ain't even. Yeah, I gotta go see what Akeem, send me a picture of that.
All right, man. Well, I think I'm gonna be signing off, man. I put in enough time, man.
Nice show.
Hopefully everybody or somebody, caught something, or hopefully, people share the message and just get the word out, and everybody be successful at what they do when dealing with these courts. You got to be precise. You can't just go up in there and think things just going to fall into place. Like I said, it's boxing. So you got to throw your blows, and when they throw their blows, you got to duck, counter them, and do what you got to do till you win your case. So be sure, if you got time, tune in next week, and I might get into the assumed name and how that works and everything. And don't forget about everybody else's show. It shows 6 days a week, bringing you straight knowledge. And with that being said, I'm going to be signing off. And if y'all want to holler at me for anything, you can visit corporatefreedomgroup.com to get in contact with me. So thank you, everybody, for joining in, and peace to the gods. Peace.
don't know.